Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
A wonderful welcome to you on Fusion Mobile e-learning platform. Today, I'm going to be tutoring you civic education. My name is Sharif Olaito, and the topic to be considered is the concluding part of what we have previously taken on traffic regulations. Of course, we discussed that traffic regulations are those rules and laws that you have to obey as road users. Now today, we shall be talking about pedestrians, traffic regulations for the pedestrians, motorists, traffic regulations for the motorists, agencies that maintain traffic regulations and laws, traffic rules. We shall be talking about the reasons for obeying traffic regulations. We shall be discussing traffic regulations and way through which you can obey traffic regulations. Of course, we shall be talking about traffic offenses. We shall be talking about the roles of individuals in maintaining traffic rules and regulations. We shall be discussing the roles of government, where we shall be talking about the certain agencies that ensure that laws are maintained. Then we talk about the factors that are against road safety activities. First, I reminded us earlier what we mean by traffic regulations. Now we should talk about who a pedestrian is. A pedestrian is a person who is walking on the road, especially in an area which is also used by vehicles. For instance, you get to the main road where vehicles such as trailers, cars, buses, keke, which are tricycles, bicycles, motorcycles, and so on, make use of. In such situation where you have to walk on foot, it means you are a pedestrian. This is what we mean by a pedestrian. A student going to school who is trekking or coming back from school is considered as a pedestrian. Somebody who is walking on the road is considered as a pedestrian, and so on and so forth. Drivers share the road with many other road users, among whom are the pedestrians, who are especially road users. A student walking on the road, like we said earlier, is a pedestrian, and so it is required of him or her to obey the laws that pertain to the pedestrian. The rules include the pedestrian should use the pavements or suitable footpath where provided. Of course, while you are walking on the road, there are pedestrian paths that are made available for you to walk through. It is not allowed for you as a pedestrian road user to go and be plying the route which is especially made for the motorists, the drivers, and so on and so forth. It is expected of you to walk on the left side of the road, facing oncoming traffic. Of course, it's not right for you to be backing traffic that is coming. Approaching traffic should be coming towards you. You should be facing it, which is why it is advised that you should always be on the left side of the road. And while walking in the dark, you should wear or carry white, bright colored or reflective clothes so that you can be easily seen in them. Of course, it is not advisable that you walk on the road in the dark and you are still putting on black, where you cannot be easily spotted. Of course, this could lead to hazardous events or accidents. Do your traffic drills while crossing a road, which is to look at your left, look towards your right, and then look towards your left again, and be very sure that there is no approaching vehicle. You should use pedestrian crossing or zebra crossing often. Whenever you want to cross the road, make sure you make use of the zebra crossing where it is available. Some people will see the pedestrian crossing and will still cross the road. There are so many things you risk by doing so. You risk being arrested by traffic law prosecutors. You risk being hit by an approaching vehicle. and so many other things. You risk causing congestion even on the road. Of course, traffic lights, subways, or footbridges, where they are provided, should be properly and duly made use of. Do not cross the road between or in front of parked vehicles, because other vehicles may not see you. Of course, if you see a parked vehicle on the road, do not try to cross before, in the front, or immediately behind the parked vehicle, because vehicles that are approaching may not be able to see you easily or spot you easily while crossing the road, and this could lead to accidents. At night, cross the road near lighted areas so that you can be seen, especially if there is no zebra crossing. Remember, you have no right of way at a pedestrian crossing or zebra crossing until you have stepped on it. Once you are on it, the traffic should give way to you. What do we mean by this? So zebra crossings are often like this. If Mr. A is approaching the zebra crossing, let's assume Mr. A is approaching the zebra crossing from here, coming towards the zebra crossing here. During this period, when he has not stepped on to the zebra crossing, he cannot lay claim to the road. But the moment he walks and moves and moves and moves and gets to the zebra crossing, every traffic ceases and give way to him. By this, we mean that you should make sure that before you can lay claim to the road, you are on the right track, which is on your zebra crossing when you want to cross. If you are not there and you are trying to make use of the privilege of somebody who is making use of the zebra crossing, then you are wrong, because it is expected that other road users may not respect your privilege. Then, stay off the road if you hear the siren or see the flashing light of an emergency vehicle until you are sure the road is clear. We talked about emergency light the other time, the ones and sirens, the ones which are made use of by the police, perhaps in cases of emergency, by the firefighters, by ambulances and so on. It is expected of you to stay clear of the road until these emergency vehicles must have passed away. While crossing junctions, pay attention to traffic, turning corners, especially from behind you. Do not cross the road when an authorized person, like traffic warden or traffic police or road marshal, controlling the traffic is allowing traffic to move or signaled you to stop. Of course, you must have seen those traffic policemen. Some of them are always on orange and black uniforms. Some of them are always on black and black uniforms. Some of them on blue and black uniforms. Some of them, especially the FRSC, are always on white and black uniforms. Some VIOs, vehicle inspector officers, are often on different kind of uniforms, most of which are striped uniforms. Of course, when any of them signals you or advises you to do anything on the road, you should. Especially when they have asked vehicles to continue moving, you are not expected to cross as at that time. Of course, they are going to make way for you to cross the road. Now that we have discussed the traffic regulations for the pedestrians, let's move on to the traffic regulations for motorists. All motorists must obey all road signs and traffic light signals. Of course, we talked about road signs. Those ones that we said are prohibitive signs, mandatory signs, regulatory signs, information signs, the stop signs, the warning signs, and the giveaway signs that we discussed in our earlier lesson. Those signs have to be respected and obeyed at every point in time. You must drive a vehicle with a valid driver's license and any other permits required by law. Of course, as a road user, as a motorist, you are expected to have a valid driver's license. These driver's licenses are to be renewed periodically. Of course, it is not enough to have a driver's license. You must be able to drive very well. You won't even be issued a driver's license if you cannot drive. But then, after you must have obtained this driver's license, they have expiry dates. These are to put check to your activities and your road usage. When your driver's license have expired, you are expected to go and renew your license. Of course, motorists should drive vehicles that are in good working condition, paying particular attention to lights, brakes, steering mechanism, tires and tire pressure, direction indicators and wipers. Every part of the vehicle, every part, I repeat, every part of the vehicle has to be carefully monitored. You have to be sure that your vehicle is in good condition before you get underway. Always fasten your seatbelt while driving because it reduces the severity of injuries. It is advised that motorists fasten their seatbelts while they are driving. This is to reduce the severity of the injury that could be sustained in any case of hazard or accident. Drivers must not be less than 18 years. If you are less than 18 years and you are driving a car, if you are arrested, you could be prosecuted. In fact, you will be prosecuted. Never drive while under the influence of drugs or alcoholic drinks, because this can influence your driving and you may take the wrong turn or take the wrong step, and this could lead to accidents and untimely death. Do not drink and drive. You should not drive when you are unwell, exhausted and tired from overwork. Of course, some people are so tired. They are tired enough to go and find sleep, and they still take the step of trying to tour around the town, trying to do shopping, and they'll still take their own personal and their private cars to take these kind of trips. It is not advisable that when you are tired or exhausted, you drive your vehicles. You should drive vehicles that are properly insured. Of course, your vehicle has to be under insurance. You should obey speed limits mounted at road construction areas or any other road. In certain areas, there are speed limits. Those limits can be spotted through signals like this. You could see this is to say you must run more than 56 kilometers per hour in a particular area. Of course, in some academic institutions, it is always within 40-45 kilometers per hour because of the activities and the dominance of pedestrians in such areas. These speed limits have to be obeyed. As a motorist, you have to abide by speed limits, especially at road construction areas too. There are some certain roads that are under reconstruction, repair and rehabilitation. These construction sites, in them you have so many road signals and symbols. Those signals, including speed limits, have to be abided by. You should not drive your vehicle without fire extinguisher, spare tire, side and inner rear mirrors. Of course, fire extinguisher, which could be very handy when there is a fire hazard while driving. Of course, your spare tire, to always replace your tires whenever you have issues, so that your vehicle will not be left stranded and stagnant on the main road, causing obstruction to other vehicles that are moving up and down. Of course, side and inner rear mirrors are very important, so as for you to be focused on your front, and at the same time being able to watch your back without much distractions. You must not use GSM or phones while driving. In fact, there are signs like this. This is a mobile phone. Then you would see a slash, a stroke on it. This is to say you should not use mobile phones while driving. And of course, you should not overload your vehicle with goods or passengers while driving. It is not ideal. It is not ideal. Because while you do this, you risk a severe, or you are at a very high risk of sustaining a severe injury or death if these overloaded vehicles should have a very little accident. This is what we are saying. For a vehicle which is not supposed to be more than 18 passengers, if we have 15, 16, 17, 18 passengers in it, the risk of sustaining severe injuries is quite lower than when this kind of vehicle is loaded with 26 passengers or even 40 passengers. Overloading is not allowed, both passengers and cargoes or loads. You should not engage in any act of commission or omission that may constitute hazard to other road users. Of course, it is not advisable that you take a turn where you are not supposed to take a turn. In some places, you will see signs like this. Signs like this. And then, this is to say there is no U-turn. Of course, it is going to come up on your screen. Most of these signs are going to come up on your screen, and you are going to be able to identify them and become more familiar with them. You should not obstruct or assault a road marshal in the performance of his duty. Of course, you are to obey a road marshal, and you should not disagree with them. You must not assault, obstruct, or disturb them during their duties. When overtaking other vehicles, it is necessary that you do this from the left. You don't overtake vehicles from the right. They might want to park at the moment when you are trying to overtake, and this could lead to certain accidents. You should drive your vehicles with its plate number in front and back, and must never be transferred except with the permission of the Inspector General of Police. That is, the Inspector General of Police have the exclusive right to transfer one plate number from the other. Of course, every vehicle on the road must have plate numbers, except for certain official vehicles of public officers, which have been licensed to ply the roads without number plates. And of course, do not drive a vehicle with a damaged windscreen. When your windscreen is damaged, it is expected of you to replace them. Do not drive a vehicle without a windscreen. Do not smoke. Do not smoke or eat while driving. This is to avoid distraction while you are using the road. Use your headlights when the weather is not clear. Whenever it is dark or the weather is not clear, make sure your headlights are on. In fact, your tail lights, make sure they are on too. Do not discuss or engage in any distractive activity while driving, such as talking to the person next to you and being too focused with that person, making phone calls while driving. No, it is not allowed. Those are things that are distractive. Do not get too close to the vehicle in front of you. Always maintain a distance. Because if there is an issue with the car in front, before you approach or get too close to that vehicle, if you maintain a distance, you would have noticed and you must have taken the next turn or avoid getting involved in such danger. You must obey traffic wardens and other officials controlling the traffic all the time. Now, the following are the agents that are in charge of enforcing traffic rules. We have the traffic warden, we have the Federal Highway Police Patrol, we have the FRSC, which are also known as the Federal Road Safety Corps. We have the Mobile Court. We have the Vehicle Inspection Officer. We have the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. We have the Transport Department of the Nigerian Police. We have the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, of which we have such within other states too. I'm sure Abia State have such, Oyo State have their own, Kano State have. We have the organized unions like the National Union of Road Transport Workers. These are certain agencies that are saddled with the responsibilities of ensuring and managing and enforcing traffic rules. Now, that brings us to reasons why we should obey traffic regulations. To check overspeeding, of course, when traffic rules are being obeyed, overspeeding is under check and accidents are minimized. To reduce road accidents, of course, like we said earlier, accidents will be minimized when traffic rules are being obeyed. To check the driver's excesses, to enhance smooth flow of vehicles. Have you ever seen, you must have, one or two times you must have witnessed roads whereby there are no laws, the laws and regulations are not being obeyed. Everybody wants to pass at the same time. What this kind of thing, what this kind of lawlessness leads to is obstruction of the road. Automatically the road would become congested and obstructed, and everybody will be on the same spot. Of course, to reduce traffic jam, most times traffic jams are caused when road users fail to obey traffic lights, traffic wardings, and traffic regulations. The effects of traffic jam on the people and society is very, very tremendous, because most people are hurrying to places, perhaps for an appointment or to treat themselves. These people, when they find themselves in traffic jam, they are finally delayed. Now, ways through which we can obey traffic laws. Road users can obey traffic regulations through regular maintenance of vehicles, ensuring that they are in good working conditions. Of course, the vehicles must be in good working condition. Traffic regulations can be obeyed by observing several crossing rules and so on, speed limits, and many more. Another good way of obeying the traffic regulations is by avoiding overspeeding and recklessness, by observing and obeying traffic signs, speed limits, and following the rules the authorities of traffic wardens, police, and Federal Road Safety Corps. The following are traffic offenses, and these offenses may attract between 6 months to 5 years imprisonment, depending on the particular one committed by the road user. And in some instances, the offenders are being fined. They will be issued certain fines to go and pay into the account of the government. Recklessness and dangerous driving is an offense. Negligent or dangerous driving is an offense. Drinking and driving, when you drink alcohol and you drive, you have committed a traffic offense. Motor traffic homicide, killing through negligent driving. Of course, if you hit somebody through negligent driving, it is an offense. Overtaking without following the due process, perhaps from the left. Overspeeding, failure to comply with road signs, traffic lights and signals. Wrongful or dangerous overtaking of another vehicle. Driving without driver's license and valid vehicle particulars. The following are the roles of individuals. The individuals should consider other road users who equally have the right to the road and must be willing to cooperate and tolerate them while using the road. Of course, another duty of the individual or any road user is to obey all traffic regulations accordingly. Motorists should slow down once they come to zebra crossing. Drivers should drive within the speed limit allowed for their vehicles and avoid the temptation of unnecessary overspeeding. They must avoid distractive activities such as discussions, phone calls, eating, smoking, and drinking. Motorists must also be conscious of their safety and that of other road users. Of course, commercial motorists and private individuals should undergo traffic training for proper education and road usage in driving schools. Motorists, rather pedestrians, should ensure that they walk on the pedestrian pathway. You should wear reflective garments in the dark. Do traffic drill while crossing the road by looking to the left and right. And of course, that brings us to the roles of government in ensuring and maintaining traffic rules. The government has so many roles to play, one of which is the establishment of law maintenance agencies, such as FRSC. Another one is to ensure the prosecution of traffic offenders. The third one is to ensure rehabilitation and repair of bad roads so as to avoid accidents on the road or stagnancy. And of course, road maintenance agencies should ensure that they contribute their quotas too. These maintenance agencies are the Federal Road Safety Commission, the Federal Road Safety Corps, the Traffic Warden, the Highway Patrol Team, the Road Traffic Officers, the Vehicle Inspection Officers, the Customs, the Nigerian Army, Volunteer Special Road Marshal, non-governmental organizations like Drive to Live, Boy Scouts, Man-O-War, and so on, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The main agency of government for maintaining traffic regulations is the FRSC. But in collaboration with FRSC, all of the said agencies should come and ensure that they do periodic enlightenment and sensitization for road users. So those are the major roles of government and then the road maintenance agents. Now the following are factors working against road safety activities in Nigeria. There are many factors hindering the efforts of our government through its numerous agencies in making our roads safe and in reducing road traffic accidents. Some of them are bribery. Of course, many road marshals and officers, such as policemen or officers of FRSC, take bribe from traffic offenders instead of prosecuting them. Then another one is funding. Government spends more funds attending to major health challenges such as AIDS than in sponsoring road safety activities. And of course, judicial inadequacies. Most often, offenders are not arrested and prosecuted in the courts of law due to one reason or the other, either owing to inadequacies of the law or the offender may have bribed the officers to prevent apprehension or prosecution. Of course, illiteracy is another thing. The illiteracy level in Nigeria is below 40%, and there is low reading culture in the country. Most people are illiterate, and this has fostered the belief in charm, cola, and so on, as road accident immune deletion syndrome. What are we talking about? Most people believe when they are fully armed with charms, they can avoid road accidents, thereby violating road signs, regulations, and rules. Of course, the implication is that motorists will drive recklessly and carelessly with the belief that their charm will save them if there is any accident on the road. In fact, there is a funny belief that most trailer drivers on the express road have charms that can take them off and make them disappear from their trucks whenever there is an imminent accident on the way. Low maintenance culture. Many factors like high inflation, low income per capita, poor state of roads, high price of spare parts, high cost of fuel, all account for low maintenance culture of vehicles. And most times, the traffic regulations on vehicle age limits are not enforced. Of course, when things are too costly, when there is inflation, when there is a low income per capita, you may not want to consider getting a spare tire for your car or replacing the tail lights or headlights that have spoiled. The implication is that your vehicle will not be in a good condition. As well, the age limit for driving may not be fully implemented or may not be obeyed. I have seen certain individuals who are not even up to 16 that drive and make use of major roads. Inadequate communication and operation facilities such as ambulance, cars, rescue equipment, and so on. Lack of personnel or manpower. The vast kilometers of road coupled with increased car ownership and crime rates Many vehicles in FRSC are in bad shape and they are damaged and are not roadworthy enough to chase traffic offenders. Many of driving schools are not registered with the Ministry of Education, nor properly regulated or monitored by FRSC. Lack of cooperation by hospitals is another thing. In receiving accident victims and brought in dead, and intimidation of first aids and good Samaritans by the law enforcement agencies. What do we mean by this? Certain people who are good Samaritans who see accident scenes and decide to help the victims of the accident may be intimidated when they get to the hospital. And the victim of the accident may not be duly attended or promptly attended to. Of course, we have come to the end of traffic regulations as a topic under civic education. A question is on your screen right now. Attempt it and provide adequate answers to them. Of course, if you have any difficulties doing so, kindly rewind the tape to wherever you might have missed out. Thank you for watching.